Alright, let's use Godot to make some 2D realistic looking fire. Alright, so we'll start off by creating an area 2D to hold our fire. And then that's going to need a CPU particle 2D. So if we zoom in, we'll see it's already doing its thing. So let's start with changing the amount here to 5,000. It's going to give us plenty to work with. Then we can come into time. We'll set the lifetime to 0.4. Let's also set the speed scale to 0.4. And then randomness will turn all the way up to 1. Okay, for our mission shape, select sphere. Then we'll give it like 32. It's pretty good. Direction, we want to change Y to -1. And then we can just set spread to 0. That's fine. Gravity is probably one of the most important settings here. Instead of 980, we want it to be -980 so that our fire will go up. So for our initial velocity, let's just set that to 290 max. So it'll go from 0 to 290. That'll give a variation along that range. Angular velocity will do -45 to 45 as our range. And then let's set up a curve for that. So go new curve. I'll just pull this out a little bit so we can see it better. We'll place some dots along here, and then we'll bring each of these up a little bit. And this is just going to affect, the angles of the particles. So next thing we want to do is come down to scale. We'll set our minimum value to 0, maximum to 1. And then here we want to create another curve. So we'll go like that. And here we want to basically take this middle guy, move him there. We'll make a little guy over here, and then a guy down at the end. We'll bring him all the way down. So for this one, we want to grab these little handles on the side too. We can kind of bring him up like that. Maybe bring that guy down a little bit so we kind of get this shape where it goes, down and then up and then back down. So next thing we want to do is on our color, we're going to create a color ramp. So go to new gradient. Then we'll pop this open and we'll do like a white, sort of like yellowish color maybe. Give it like an orange. And then let's do like a red. It's kind of cool. And then for this last one, double click on it, and then we'll just bring the alpha channel all the way down so we get like a nice little fade. Then we'll space these out kind of, get like a couple of these colors in the middle too, so we can kind of control more of the fade from one color to the next. So now what we want to do is under drawing, we're going to need a texture for this because as you can see, these are like little squares and it doesn't look very cool as squares. So let's bring up just Microsoft Paintworks. And then here I've got, for my image properties, I've got 256 by 256. And we can just kind of, do your best. Do your best to get like a little teardrop shape. It's kind of tough to do, but it doesn't really matter. It doesn't have to be perfect. So we'll just grab this and we can paint it black. We'll hide this layer here and then we'll paint it white because we want the actual image to be white. And then we'll save it as a PNG. Okay, so I've just imported my picture into my scene here. So under drawing, we'll select texture and then new image texture, and then we can just drag that guy right in there. Okay, so you should have something that looks kind of like this, and it's a little wild. So what we probably want to do here is for our scale amount max, is sort of fiddle with this. Let's bring it down to like maybe 0.15, 0.2. Yeah, that's kind of cool. Okay, and then last we can come over here to visibility and modulate, and then we'll just bring the alpha channel down some. We can just sort of play with our colors here to get it looking more like how we would want it to look. Okay, and then we've got this little like pulsing effect going on here, so we can just come up to drawing, draw order, and then go to lifetime, and that should give us like a nice looking little flame there. So if you want to adjust it some more to like blend it together, you can just sort of play with this alpha channel, and depending on like the look you're going for, you could get kind of like cartoony, or pull it down some and you get a little bit more realistic looking flame. All right, so there's our fire, and like let's actually change the background color here too. So if we come in here and go to environment, we can sort of like bring that down some, make it more black. It's going to be really hard to do our smoke on a gray background. So so here's our fire. We got that going on. That's cool. We can change this to fire. And then let's go ahead and add another CPU particles 2D for our smoke. So for the smoke, we'll just do like another 2000. And it's down here, so let's bring it kind of up towards the top. First thing we need to do is change our gravity so that it's going up. So let's set our lifetime here to 3. Let's set our speed scale to 0.3. For the emission shape, we're going to select sphere surface, and then let's give it like 23 as our sphere radius. Okay, so our smoke is going straight up and it's looking kind of weird. So let's go ahead and replace the particles with a texture, similar to how we did with the fire. So we'll just open up paint again. And then here we want to draw something. Let's see, actually, let's just draw a circle. And you can hold shift to make it exact. Then grab this and just paint inside. Hide that bottom layer there. We want to paint it white again, and then save as a PNG. Okay, I've got my smoke circle imported here. So over under drawing, we'll do a new image texture and drop the smoke circle in. So what we want to do is come down to scale, because this is like massive. So for scale, let's go from 0 to 0.1. And then we can do another curve. So for this curve, let's go, we'll put a dot down here so it's like a little bit visible. And then for this one, let's go up to about right there. And so that's going to make our smoke sort of, we can even go a little bit bigger if we want. It's going to make our smoke like start small and then grow over time. And we can bring down the opacity on this too. Just drop that alpha channel down and you'll see it kind of starts to look like smoke. You just want to just give it like barely some opacity. And then because our smoke doesn't like go just straight up, we're going to open up orbit velocity. And here, let's do minus 0.2 for the minimum, and the maximum can be 0. And so what that's going to do is that's going to kind of like let our smoke change direction a little bit. So again, we'll do a new curve. And then for this one, we've actually we want to limit this a little bit because this is like minus 500 to 500, so that's a little crazy. So we actually want to go -1 to 1. All right, and then we can bring that to 0, and then this is cool because now you have this little switch here. You can decide which way you want the smoke to go. And we can actually come back over to our scale, and maybe we go like 0.2, 0.3. Yeah, I don't hate that. So, and now we'll just have to bring our alpha down even more. So we'll bring it down to like, maybe I think even 1. No, that's not enough. 2. Yeah, so there we go. All right, cool. So we've got fire and we have smoke. So that's how you use Godot's particle systems to make fire and smoke. If you want, you can grab this little guy here and you can move your smoke around. Maybe move it a little further down. And anywhere you move it, you can see it you could even animate this to make your smoke like take on certain patterns or certain shapes.